Well, good morning. This is Leo Cannyn with Beryl Engineering and Inspection. I have an exciting hour to present today.
Go click go live.
The computer wants me to just run off the microphone because I stole your intro.
Welcome back. This is hour number 2 of Tampa Home Talk. Leo thought I was not going to be able to make it back, and Adam already scooted out. Thank you. We are now live on Facebook. Sorry we missed last hour with Mr. Fasano. Gracious enough to totally answer questions about Hillsborough.
He just took a call.
He literally took a call.
Just took a Hillsborough call.
Anyway, super cool guy. We love having him on. They actually moved a meeting for us. I can't believe it, but they're so great.
No, they moved the meeting for him.
What?
Not us. We're not at the meeting.
No. They had a meeting with their staff, and they moved it for us. They moved it back to be on Tampa.
Well, to educate the public. I mean, it's part of their responsibility as public servants.
Okay, so we have hour number 2 lined up for you today, and another amazing show, of course, and I'm really excited to talk about this topic. I don't know that we've actually ever covered it here on Tampa Home Talk, but we have, I want to make sure I get this right, so it's Tom and Buck, right?
Yes,
And tell me the name of your company.
Swept Away Incorporated.
Okay, so Swept Away Incorporated, and you guys are actually chimney sweeps, right? That's what you do?
Yes, ma'am. Gilded.
So tell me a little bit about you guys. You come all dressed up. You guys look awesome with your hats. What's the whole story with that?
Well, traditional German chimney sweep outfit. We've technically wear top hats and tails or the German uniform. When weather permitting, because it's really hot right now. Not when it's hot, no. But the chimney sweeps originally got the hand-me-downs from the upper class, the swells in Victorian England. So we'd get the top hats and we'd get the tails, the hand-me-downs. So we'd wear the hand-me-down clothes. Well, we continued to wear them through the years. A lot of people weren't aware that the tailcoat was made so when you'd sit on your horse, the tail would split and drape over the side. Well, the benefit of that was when the chimney sweeps had worn-out pants, the tails would sweep shut, and you would not see the holes in our breeches.
Oh, wow. What a cool story. So when you guys go to clean or sweep a chimney, do you always wear your same getup?
Normally we're in our top hat. We usually have our work shirts on. If we're going to go kiss a bride at a wedding like Buck is doing Saturday, he'll come in traditional wear.
Wait, say that one more time. You're going to what? Explain that?
Okay. And
he's going to sweep the wedding.
Yeah, it's considered good luck to have a chimney sweep come to the wedding and kiss the bride. It's tradition.
Oh, I didn't know that. I never heard that.
Yes, the last royal wedding that was, world broadcast and whatnot, there was a chimney sweep there. Of course, you didn't see him on TV. His name was Philip. He's from England and so forth, and that's been tradition from time immemorial. It's considered good luck to have a chimney sweep at your wedding.
So you get to go kiss all kinds of brides.
Yeah, we do indeed. We get invited to weddings all the time. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. You knew that, I'm sure.
I did, and I want to learn more about the guild during this hour.
Okay. Sure. You jump in, I know you're excited.
Is guild like the predecessor of a union?
Okay, here's the thing. The Chimney Sweep Guild, the chimney sweeps have been around since the early 1400s, 1600s. A lot of people aren't aware that Andreas Dumas is a plagiarist. Our guild hall in Germany has Einer für all, all for einen, engraved in stone, which in German means one for all for one. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we are actually a guild. We all know each other. The chimney sweeps get together in Sabinagoria, Italy. We have the March of the Sweeps. Thousands of sweeps come from all over the world. We have this year in Orlando, in February, we have the National Chimney Sweeps Convention coming. We have people coming from Sweden. We have people coming from Denmark. We have people coming from Germany. We have people coming from all over the United States. We all know each other. We've put on conventions for years. I was a convention trainer for 20-something years with one convention circuit. So we're literally a guild. We know. Prime example, I was at a house yesterday. The customer says to me, I have a house in North Carolina. Chim Chimarie is my customer. Well, that's David and Beth Klein and Bill Klein. I've known them for years. So I immediately talked about David and Beth. And so we really do. We know a lot of each other from all over the country.
That is so cool.
It is a guild.
I had no idea you guys were so tight.
So you guys would have... you have one in Germany. Where else do you have actually official guild halls?
All over the world. Poland, Sweden. Yeah.
Because I'd like going to these old town squares in Europe, and you have the guild hall section. You got the fishmongers, the chimney sweeps. Right. You got the sewing people and stuff. It's just kind of it's kind of neat to see the guild halls because you get, like you said, the sayings on the wall with the plaques and everything.
Well, now I will say that in Germany, the other day where was that? Was that Norfolk, Virginia convention? I think was the last one. We were in Norfolk, Virginia, and I was talking to one of the German sweeps, and our shirts, our work shirts, on the back of them have the actual logo, guild logo. So I said to Bernard, I said, so, what about Eine für alle, all for einen? Because I'm talking between Bernard and Andreas. Bernard is West German, Andreas is East German. The comment was, oh, he's West German, we don't do that. So it really depends on where you are, but literally, we're all friends, we all know each other. It is a very small community. If the guy is professional and he goes through the training, to give you an idea, for us to keep our certification, we literally have to go and recertify every 2 years. We have to keep certification points. We have to go to conventions. The conventions that we do actually have training. So we go for 3 to 4 days training at least once to twice a year on what we do.
I would love to break down some of that as we dive into Tampa Home Talk on some of the things because you would think a chimney sweep, what do you learn that's new? Like what's your CE, what's your continuing
Prime example, how many people know the physics of a home, how a home breathes?
Oh, he does, I'm sure.
Okay, yeah. Now, see, that's the thing.
Leo can probably answer more than you, because he's like how many?
I want to know about the technology. I want to know about the technology changes over. I got so many questions.
The technology changes over the years.
You got to read me in here.
Okay. All right. Originally, the chimney sweep started out with the climbing boys. Okay, and if you know what a climbing boy is, they were the orphans off the streets. Okay, and every once in a while you had a slow kid that wasn't working. How did they get them motivated?
Well, not that it's right or good or anything, but the master sweep, if they weren't going fast enough, would light a small fire in the firebox to make them move faster. Have you ever heard the expression, light a fire under your butt?
Yeah.
That's where the expression comes from.
Oh, most expressions come after horses. That one didn't.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
now, the other thing that we've got there is, you've heard the terminology, your goose is cooked? Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, when they used to clean the chimneys, what they would do was, an easy way of doing it around the holiday time, the maid would go down to the market and she'd buy a goose.
And then she'd bring it home. The chimney sweeps would be coming along the top of the roofs and yell down the chimney sweep, and
she'd take the goose into the flue. He'd drop a rope down. He'd tie the rope around the foot of the goose. She'd take and hold a sheet up over the front of the fireplace. He'd give a jerk and start hauling it up.
And then, the goose would be flapping its wings and it would sweep the flue and so forth. I'm sure in this day and age some people would have an issue with that, but that's, you ask about the old technology, so that's kind of how it originated.
The old saying was, the blacker the bird, the cleaner the flue.
I've heard that one.
So what would happen is the chimney sweep would then come down off the roof to the front of the house.
I'm like just in awe this hour. I'm like, I feel like I'm watching
he would walk up to the door. By the time he got down off the roof, she would have gone and laid a fire in the fireplace, swung the kettle hook out over, and had a pot of water boiling. So then he'd come in and snap the goose's neck, handle the goose.
I hope there's not any kids listening to this right now. They're going to have nightmares.
She'd put them in the water, boil it, pull the feathers off. They'd take and they'd put the goose in the fireplace, and their holiday goose was cooked. So then you've got the goose is cooked and the black of the bird, all in one saying, all off of one little thing that's happening there.
Wow.
So now,
that's incredible.
We've gone from, to give you an example, in Florida, let's just talk about our general area. In Florida, in 1920, the homes did not have terracotta liners. We can look at a house, because of our training, we'll know what era that house was built in by how it's constructed. Like, people do not realize how much training goes into what we do. If we come into a house that was built before 1925, there's going to be no terracotta liners in that house. It's very unusual to find a house built before 1925 that has a liner.
Back out. I know what a terracotta liner is.
Okay.
What is a terracotta liner?
A terracotta liner.
I was waiting for you to
A terracotta liner was basically, in 1925, they designed a vitreous flue clay liner that was made and cooked in a factory and made to contain the combustion byproducts. Because when you burn wood, so much of that wood is not combusted. And as it goes through the flue, it cools and solidifies. So the residence time, how long that gas is in the flue, tells how long it's going to build up and how much it's going to build up. So what they did was they put a vitreous clay liner in, which gave you a barrier for fire safety. So it literally, because what they did before that was, in the early 1700s,
Hey, what? Hold
after
up,
the break, after the break,
After the break.
after the break.
After the break.
Our
Sorry.
phone
Okay,
number,
after the
if
break.
chimney questions, call or text 813-377-2775. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back. This is Tampa Home Talk, and we are joined today by Tom and Buck with Swept Away Chimney Service, Repair, and Cleaning. And you guys brought us some cool little Monopoly pieces.
Well, that's your very own chimney sweep for your mantle, because chimneys are really known as being generally lucky. So if you have one of those on your mantle, I've been there.
Okay.
So, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do you have to come to my house to put it on?
Yeah.
Well, that's our own little elf on a shelf.
Oh, yeah, there you go. Yeah, yeah. Our own little elf on the
I
shelf.
love it. So I would love to talk a little bit throughout the hour, throughout this, what's left of the hour,
Sure.
Of the decades and the times and some different things you should know about different chimneys built in different times.
Yep.
And I guess, real quick, before we dive into that, I'll ask you about my own chimney, right?
Okay.
So my house was built in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And we're actually in the process of trying to redo our fireplace still. We're going to go to like
we
the
do that.
electric gas, like, with the rocks.
Okay.
Anyway, so I had a chimney sweep out of my house, and he said, "You don't have a real chimney. It's a faux chimney." And I said, "What? There's a stack, like, on the roof, and there's a vent. Why do I not have a real chimney?" He said, "You don't have a real chimney. It's."
Well, what he might have been referring to, there are a couple of different types of fireplace systems. There's a brick masonry chimney, but there's also what's called a prefabricated fireplace system, which is actually a steel box that's connected to a round flue that goes all the way up and through your house. It is a functional fireplace and
It's
chimney.
weird.
But,
There's not a flute in there. I don't know. Maybe you guys should follow me home after the show. I don't know what to do about it. It's a little different. So this is some of the things that's really timely for you guys to chime in on, right?
Sure.
Like with regard to these fireplaces, whether it's wood burning or it's gas, there's fumes and a lot of toxins that can get into your home and actually kill you. So we do want to touch on that.
Okay.
And what happens, like, if you buy a home and who knows when the last time it was cleaned. We need to chat about those things as well. So you guys dive into wherever you want.
All right,
next.
But if they followed you home, would that be considered lucky?
Okay, on the chimney, okay, what we usually tell people is you want to have your fireplace inspected every 3 years minimum, and the reason why you want to have it inspected is if you're not using it, you don't know what's moved into it. One of the biggest things that we find here in Florida, we have a lot of newer construction with prefabricated metal type fireplaces. The big issue that we have with those is water damage. Most people don't realize that they'll actually rot out and water damage.
We see damages on those a lot of times, and isn't it pertaining to the flashing, Leo?
Yeah,
Like,
so
there's
these-
a lot of flashing issues around chimneys.
Yeah, there's a lot of times, and I get on roofers about this constantly. When the roofers are re-roofing, they won't put a saddle or a cricket in around the base of the
They
chimney.
don't know about crickets.
And they're told, well, it's not part of the roof. I'm like, no, it's part of the roof.
So back up, what is that? What does it look like, and how would someone know if they have
Well, a cricket, and that's a great point. If the chimney is wider than, I believe it's 26 inches, it's supposed to have a cricket. And cricket is basically a raised area where the chimney meets the roof to shield water away from the base of the chimney, so you don't have a place where the water collects.
And dams up.
And dams up on the roof,
It's like a little pyramid.
Yeah, that's a good way to look at it.
It's a little hip roof in front of your chimney.
Right. So.
Well, we see the flashing just get missed a lot, right?
Well, yeah, they won't touch the flashing, and I'm like, I've nailed roofers on this all the time. They want me to close out their permits, and I'm like, well, the chimney's not properly flashed. They're like, well, we didn't add flashing. It was just there. I'm like, it wasn't.
Most of them don't know how to step flash a chimney properly.
You need to, otherwise the roof
Exactly.
just starts leaking. Because other times I'm like, we come out 2 weeks, 3 weeks after new roof's on, and it's leaking at the chimney still.
We're called in to repair them all the time.
All the time.
And they say, well, we just had the roof done, and we find that the metal flashing was not replaced because the guy did not know how to step it and properly tuck it back into the chimney or how to counter flash it.
So you're saying if I'm getting my roof redone, it's a good opportunity to call you guys out and look at it to make sure it's done properly?
That's actually the best time to look at it because we can see wood damage or see if there's signs of dry rot.
That's the one thing that a lot of people would not think about. Honestly, if they're replacing their roof and they have a chimney, they probably wouldn't think, hey, I probably should have...
To give you an
That's the
example,
first area I look.
when we go in,
Your brain is wired differently than most everyone listening, so...
when we go in and we do an inspection on a chimney, one of the things that we're doing is when we're on the roof, we're actually walking on the roof. We feel soft spots. We know where it's spongy. We can look and we can see where that valley is full of leaves, and the leaves are sitting there rotting, eating out the metal valley flash between the two roofs where they pitch together. This is also a fire hazard area where if a spark comes out, lands in that dry debris, it will cause a fire. So when we're up there, if we see something like valleys that are full of leaves, if we see soft wood, we see deteriorating shingles, the sweep is going to mention that to you because it all revolves around safety. In Europe, they're required to have access to every chimney. They have to have a ladder for us to climb to. We don't have that in this country. What we have in this country is a large liability, okay? Seriously. That's why our company owns a brand new 2019 65-foot bucket lift spider track to go in. It'll go through 36-inch gates. I took it inside of a church, and we did a charity job a couple of weeks ago, putting a sign up over a baptismal for the church.
But in Europe, the roofs are a lot steeper.
Oh, yes. They are, most definitely. But then again, in Europe, they don't tear the things down every 20 years. You've got buildings that are...
Solid, yeah.
You can tell the size of the
100-year-old
people.
buildings.
Yes, right.
So how did the chimneys change here in the United States over the last several years? We were talking about the terracotta chimneys, but then at what decade, what era did stuff start changing? And how does that impact the person listening? So talk about the year and what they should be looking at for their fireplace.
If you have a home that was built in the 20s, you want to have it inspected to make sure that there is some sort of a liner system so that you have safety, because in our world, it is not suitable for use if it doesn't have it. Okay? NFP 211 says absolutely not.
So keep in mind, just because your home is a certain way doesn't mean you shouldn't have it checked or re-inspected or modified, because as building codes change, they do that for a reason. Because they found
there was no
flaws.
building code back then. There was a Sears catalog.
Where you ordered the shotgun.
I've seen them. Yeah.
Even a house built wherever, I mean, compared to one built right now, they're up to current standards for reasons because they found design flaws or safety issues.
But I would argue that these homes with the terracotta liner that are 100 years old, I think that system's going to be better than your wood box stucco.
Oh, most definitely.
Yeah.
Those have lasted 100 years, where the prefabricated fireplaces have got a 15 to 20-year manufacturer's recommended life.
Yeah.
They're designed to be sacrificial. Now, granted, in the 1920s, we had no liners. 1925, we went to liners. Now, these houses that we had in this area were designed to breathe. That's how they withstood the storms, okay? Now we come into the 50s, and we start getting into air conditioning and central heat, and now we're getting into dampers. Before that, the damper was used to control how you burnt the fire, the rate of flow of the gases moving through the flue and how much heat came back out. Now, suddenly, it became important to have a damper that sealed it so you're not losing heat, you're not losing air conditioning. So we see that coming in right around the 50s and the 60s, okay? So then right around that time, they also figured out, well, hey, that terracotta liner is only coming up to the penetration of the roof. It's not carrying all the way out the top of the chimney. And what was happening was in the 50s, we went to fuel oil. Fuel oil, most people don't realize this. If you had a fuel oil heater in your house, fuel oil, when the moisture or the soot gets wet, it turns to sulfuric acid.
Oh.
And it starts eating the mortar from the inside out. So when we go into a home that's got a fuel oil heater, or we see an old fuel oil heater line, we have to wear respirators. We're literally getting into a moon suit, because you will hurt yourself breathing this.
So you just throw the goose in there, right?
It's kind of hard to come across a goose right now, you know. So.
Yeah, no, besides that, Peter would have us if we used to do it.
I don't think they would like that.
It's historically accurate. Now, getting into that, you know who the Quakers are. Okay, chimney sweep history. The industry originally, we used climbing boys. Okay, and we used the orphans off the streets. And then child labor laws came in.
Thank goodness.
Okay, then what happened was we went to these new fancy, newfangled cane rods with screw-on brushes. Well, the American chimney sweeps were not up to the European standards of child labor laws at that time. So the Quakers, being the Quakers, they put together a full clipper ship full of chimney sweep rods and brushes, brought them over to our country, and went to the American Chimney Sweeps Guild and said, we're going to give you these tools to no longer use the children. So that's how we originally got transposed over to brushes and rods
that used to
from
be by
having the
fireplace.
kids climb in. Well, that's the actual rods and brushes we're using, but your equipment on your fireplace should be your poker, your shovel, your tongs. You should always have a metal bucket to keep the ashes in, because you don't know how many times somebody will have a fire going. They'll scrape the ashes out, throw them in a garbage can, take them out and throw them in the garbage can out there. There's live coals, and they have a fire alongside the house that catches the house on fire, and the whole house goes down because they emptied the ashes.
So it's November 1st. We haven't quite hit the cold season yet, but
Get a week in February and 1 week in December.
Assuming we're going to get a little snap here somewhere and someone wants to use the fireplace, what are some of the things they should do? What are some of the things they should know before they ever spark that fireplace?
First thing you should do is, anytime you're using your fireplace, you want to make sure, number one, your damper is open. You want to look up the chimney. I'll tell you,
That's a good one. We'll
If
get
it's
to
wood
that.
burning, right?
You
All
want to,
year
and
You
make
don't
sure
want to
your
stick
damper
your
is open.
face up there when you open it either.
No. You want to make sure your damper is open. You want to make sure that the
So-
flue is
wait,
clear.
let's back up. How are you checking to make sure the damper is open?
Oh, you put
How do you
your
know
head-
which way is open?
You literally open the damper and then you look.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's different ways to open a damper.
Prime example of why you do this. About 5 years ago,
Turn to traffic.
For you to watch out for.
We missed the cue music. I didn't hear it.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. We were just so excited about the last talking topic. We just went straight into commercial and
Sorry
didn't even know
about
it.
that.
Yeah, sorry about
We
that.
hear the bumpers. If you guys did, we didn't. Sorry.
Yeah, so
Where did we leave off?
I don't even know what
Damper.
damper. Okay, it's dampers.
You wanna
The biggest safety thing you can do.
Right.
So
Right.
how
The
do
most
you-
important.
If you're just tuning in,
you want to make sure your damper's open. How you do that is open the damper, then take your light and look up and make sure that it's open. Then you want to verify that the flue is actually clear and venting, and prime it at the same time.
Okay, the person listening that probably
Right,
doesn't know
doesn't
anything
know-
about chimneys
right.
has no idea what you're talking about right now.
Okay.
Correct.
The damper is the
The part that opens, right?
the part that opens,
And
and
the
the
gas is out.
flue is what the gas goes up and out, your actual inside of your chimney. You want to make sure that's clear of obstructions. Keep in mind that if it's cold outside, cold air sinks. It's going to be pushing down, it's causing the cause of pressure. You want to break the thermal lock where the cold air is pushing down by taking a piece of newspaper, rolling it up into a little brand, lighting it, holding it below the damper, not up in the throat of the chimney. That's how you start a chimney fire off. You want to hold it down below the damper in the firebox area, let that burn to get a hot thermal of air going up, which will break the actual flue.
And I presume we're talking about wood-burning fireplaces right now.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
So,
What about my electric one? That doesn't.
yeah.
That's just a flick of a switch.
Is there anything different you should know from wood burning to gas fireplaces? Like, is there anything? You guys work on both, I'm sure.
Yeah, with wood burning, if it's burning correctly, you're going to know that you have no issues. If it's not burning correctly, the smoke is going to be pouring through your house, you're going to know you have issues. With gas, now, if gas is burning correctly, you should not have to clean, because gas, when it's burning correctly, you have not any flame impingement, so you don't have any yellow flame, you're not building up carbon, which is light soot that's going to flow through your house.
So that's something someone should look for if they see a yellow flame on a gas.
Yeah, what happens is with your gas fireplace, anywhere the gas flame touches something, it lowers the ignition temperature, and you'll see a little bit of yellow flame. At that point, you're not getting a complete 99.9% burn. You're getting after carbon left over. So if you've got a gas fireplace and you look at it and there's heavy carbon and light soot all over inside of there, there's something going on with your burner, and you really should have somebody look at it. But now what most people don't realize, a lot of these older homes here in the area have gas fireplaces in the bedroom. Current fire code says that any gas fireplace in a bedroom has to be a sealed unit. So if you've got a bedroom and you've got gas logs that does not have a glass front on it and it's open to the room, it's a life endangerment, because if you have a CO issue, if the flue gets blocked, it could actually really seriously hurt you.
We actually had that in our last house.
Really?
Or, I mean, in our house now, our last fireplace we took out.
Yeah.
It was gas.
Well, I got a question
Yes,
about
sure.
that. Let's say that I like fire. I like looking at it. It's relaxing. I like the crackling sound. I don't need the heat. It's Florida. Is there something I can put on the front of the fireplace that would block the heat, but I can still enjoy the physical view of it?
Okay, here...
You could put a screen on the front
You
there.
can put a screen on. Now, what you've got to watch out for is with prefabricated fireplaces, not the masonry, but the ones that are made, they're modular, they're a UL-listed appliance. You cannot put aftermarket doors on those unless they are rated for the fireplace. So if you've got a Majestic brand fireplace or an FMI brand fireplace or a Preway brand fireplace, which Preway has been out of business since 1981, you
So
can't
this is
get
like
parts.
the electrical panel only for fireplaces.
Right,
Yeah.
You cannot put an aftermarket glass doors on there because you'll void the UL listing, you'll affect how the thermal siphon works on the flue, cooling, and venting, and you can actually cause a fire. So anytime you get a home, you buy a home, you change ownership, they have written into the NFP 211, National Fire Protection Agency's 211 code book, that anytime a home changes ownership, a level 2 inspection is required to be done by a competent professional. The reason for this is what happened was the insurance agencies lobbied the industry and lobbied the NFP 211. They were having a lot of chimney fires that were being reported, and they were paying out exuberant claims. So they lobbied to make sure that they were inspected, because they don't know if that chimney got struck by lightning by the previous owner or whether it got struck by lightning this owner. So they want to have a time frame for the time of occurrence. So now anytime you buy a home, you should have a level 2 inspection done, because if you don't, the insurance company could actually deny the claim if there was something.
Are you recommending a level 2 inspection?
I never knew
I'm gonna have to
that.
look that up.
Yeah, that's actually written in the NFP 211.
I love it when you learn stuff on the show.
I learned
Leo.
something brand new. I mean, that's something that we might have to add in a disclaimer that
Well,
needs to be
you know
inspected
what,
by a licensed chimney sweep.
Well, a certified professional. That's why I asked. There is a difference in level of
Are you
education.
licensed or just certified, right?
We are certified nationally.
And
there
we
is
are-
no
we are
license
licensed-
in the state of Florida.
Well, we do carry a business license, but yes, we do carry the national certification. And a lot
It's a
of
basic business license, right? It's not like a real
Yeah.
estate agent like me. We have to have a real estate license.
No, we hold a national certification.
But it's a certification.
Give you the guys in our industry, CSIA, CDET, CCP, CSIA, only guys that work on government buildings, the White House, State Department, CSIA sweeps, period. That they're the only ones that are approved to work on government buildings.
CSIA. And what
Chimney
is that?
Safety Institute of America.
Okay. got
Okay.
it.
There's in this country you have the Chimney Safety Institute of America. They are the education part of our industry. Then you have the NCSG, which is the National Chimney Sweeps Guild. They are the guild part of our industry that everybody, where we all, for our training, they put on the conventions. You have the CCP, the Certified Chimney Professional, which is another certification agency. You have National Fire Institute, which is another certification agency.
You guys get certified through all of them, or you pick one you want?
NFI is West Coast.
Okay.
We carry...
that's more for California.
Got it.
California's got some weird...
California's got their own issues going on with that.
Friends that are real
Yeah,
agents
right,
there, and their
right.
contracts are probably about
Yeah,
50, 60, 70 pages.
Right.
Everybody that works for our company holds a CSIA certification, they hold a CDET certification, and a CCP certification before we put them in the truck and they run the truck by themselves.
The CDET is the Certified Dryer Exhaust.
Speaking of that, the number one reason for house fires is dryer vents.
And you
Most
guys,
people...
do you take care of those too?
Yes, ma'am.
We do.
Okay.
We do both residential and commercial. We do large 400-unit complexes, both chimneys and fireplaces. We do 20-story buildings, or at least our company does. The dryer vents should be cleaned once a year. Most people don't realize.
Especially apartment buildings.
Yes, especially apartment buildings.
We give you an example. I'm not going to say the name of the building, but
please
recently we had a building that had not been cleaned in 32 years.
Oh.
They had 5 fires in the building before they decided to clean it. When we went in and cleaned it, we found out that the system was improperly built to begin with. So from day one, it was never venting right. And literally the system was packed solid from the inside of the dryer all the way to the roof with lint. We literally had to have APSCO come in and pull every machine in the building and clean the dryer vents before we could even clean the system.
The back of the machines. They had to open the machines and clean everything out of the machines before we could even take care of the
Yeah,
vents.
because normally the vents are easy to clean. You just kind of.
Are you chimney, like, do you guys build chimneys at all, or you just clean them?
We service and repair them.
Okay.
I used to own a retail store installing them. We specialize on difficult access and actually.
I'm curious because we were talking about the dryer vent thing,
Right.
and we had a home inspection come up recently where the dryer vent was not like it wasn't
Probably
outside the
right,
attic.
yes.
It was going off in the attic.
The building code is very specific when it says, and I deal with this every day. I actually carry the building code with me in my truck to show people,
we
look,
carry
I'm
the
not
IRC.
making this up. The building code is very specific on a couple of things. First of all, the dryer vent must terminate on the outside of the building, period. Shall means that it will. Second thing is that the duct construction, once the duct goes into the wall, it's required to be hard metal, solid metal pipe. None of this flex stuff that goes in because
And there's a gauge.
you know, right? And 16 gauge, I believe. But anyway, and I see that sometimes.
thick.
I've even seen I've seen do-it-yourselfers that have used PVC pipe, and I'm like, no.
What?
Yes, I have seen it. But anyway, once the dryer vent goes into the wall confine of the house, into the attic, wherever, crawl space, it has to be solid metal pipe. Can you mute your phone already
you
for the
listen to
10th time? I'm
phone.
sorry.
It's coming through all the different
You like to
I know,
Devices.
put your stuff outside. Anyway, but that's very important as well. And the thing is that if it's not properly constructed by building code, it has to be installed that way. The other thing is when the dryer vent goes to the roof, the hood that's on the roof cannot have a screen on it. A lot of people say, well, what about animals getting in? The vents are so small that no animals are going to be able to get in. But because we're venting flammable material, you cannot have a screen on your dryer.
So are you
And that's
guys?
a big problem with roofers, actually.
Most roofers don't call it the
roofing. Leave the screens
Roof
on.
inspector shuffle.
Are you installing or fixing those, or
We remove the screen.
Yeah.
When we
No,
clean.
like if it's in that instance where I said the dryer vent was vented into the attic and not all the way through the roof.
Right. Okay. At this point, that is in the purview of a mechanical contractor. Okay. Now this all revolves around licensing. You've got to know
Sure.
the right codes and the right licensing. The only person that is supposed to touch an actual pipe should be a mechanical contractor,
Okay.
according to building code.
Right.
Okay. We put them back together. We repair them. But if I have to put one in, we have a mechanical contractor
Okay.
pull a building permit. That's
Got
the
it.
correct way to do it.
Yeah, if it's just a matter of a tape joint
the elbow's
that's kinda
off,
let
we
go,
can retape
we can retape them or reseal them. But as far as actually doing the installation, that's got to be a mechanical.
Yeah, anytime we do anything that way, we actually bring a mechanical contractor in, they pull the permits, and so this has got to be done right. It's all about fire safety.
Right.
It really is.
Which our friends usually do a fire safety show close to the holidays, right? Talk a lot about the holidays,
Oh, yeah.
safety lights and stuff. But this ties right into that with the chimney, and stuff
Absolutely.
and the dryer
Absolutely.
vents.
You know, a lot of times I get it from people that
Do you guys know by chance, real quick, what the percentage is of house fires for
Yeah, the,
chimneys that are not properly?
That's a
dryer
great
vents?
question. Well, here in Florida, we don't use our chimneys like they do in, let's say, the Northeast, the
Right.
Midwest, or anything like that. Chimney fires are a lot more prevalent up north. Down here, as a matter of fact, I know a fire chief in one of the local municipalities, and I asked him one time. I said, in your 30-some odd years of experience, how many chimney fires have you ever responded to? And he said, a few here and there. I said, how many dryer vent fires have you
Yeah.
responded to? He said, too many to count over the years. He said, I lost count years ago.
when you pull the statistics up, the national statistics say the dryer vent.
Yeah, we heard that time. So
Oh, we
we got
heard
a
that.
I
little
raised the
bit more-
volume all the way up this time for it.
Okay.
So we're getting ready.
Yeah, we're coming to a break. Our off-air number, in case you have a question for our chimney sweeps that will only be here for about another 15 more minutes, is 813-377-2775. If you've got a question with regards to your dryer vent or your chimney, now is a fantastic time to call or text us, and we'll get it answered for you on air. 813-377-2775. That's our off-air number. So you can text the questions or just call in and press 0. 813-377-2775. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk, and it is officially time for us to roll to a break. We'll be back right after this moment right here on Money Talk 1010, Tampa Bay's business address. Back in a moment.
Well, good morning. Welcome back. Final segment here on Tampa Home Talk. We're with Tom and Buck from Swept Away and Katrina. And we got a small segment left. We spent so much time talking about history. We spent so much time talking about technology. We need to talk now about what you guys do today.
Okay. Yeah, how can you help our person listening?
There you go. That's why we're here, aren't we? Okay.
Well,
other than making it really fun for the educational hour.
Swept Away, our company, we've been in business for 45 years now, 35 years in the Bay Area. We specialize in doing vents, dryer vents, chimney vents, inspections. We repair, we put on caps, we stop water leaks around the chimney. Our whole philosophy is...
Chimney repair, maintenance, upkeep, inspection.
Right.
Yes, ma'am. Our whole philosophy is keep it safe.
Right. When in doubt, call us out to your house.
When in doubt, check it out.
When in doubt, check it out. Right, exactly.
And you guys actually have a special for our listeners. So if you mentioned that you heard the chimney sweep people on Tampa Home Talk.
Right.
You can just mention our show and they'll give you $10 off.
Yes,
you
ma'am.
want to get a general inspection, you got something funky going on with your chimney or service,
Dryer vent.
Right.
Yeah.
The other thing that I forgot to mention as well is that when we come out and do an inspection, a lot of times the chimney actually doesn't need to be swept. Now, our company policy is that if I look up the flue and it doesn't need to be swept, I'm not going to charge you just to run a brush for the sake of running a brush.
We're going to tell you that you're throwing your money away.
Right. We would rather keep you a long-term customer when you do need service or you do need a sweep, whereas, maybe the first time I come out, well, it doesn't need to be swept yet, but give it another year or another 2 years and let's reevaluate.
How often does it normally have to be swept? And is that only for...
That's going to depend on what you burn.
Burning?
Yeah, it depends on how much you use it. We recommend after about 50 fires. 50
You should have it inspected every 1 to 3 years. But
50 to 60 fires. You're in Florida. That's like...
That's why we say 1 to 3 years. But now here's the thing. What people don't realize is you can mess up your fireplace in one fire. Wood has to have a certain moisture content. If that wood is too wet, you're burning green wood. It's not a complete burn. You'll actually put a glaze that's shiny and tarry inside of your chimney. Creosote, when it burns at 2,500 degrees. We melt steel in the foundry at 1,500 degrees.
Okay, that is super relevant because it rains all the time here and people do not use their fireplace often, so that is right on time.
And also, we talked about this outside. I know the holidays are right around the corner and you've got wrapping paper from your gifts. Do not put it in your fireplace.
Do not burn the Christmas tree.
Do not burn the Christmas tree.
More homes are burned down behind the Christmas tree.
People are throwing their Christmas tree in the fireplace.
Yeah, that's how they get rid of them. They cut them up and they burn them in the fireplace.
That'd be like good dead wood. Why wouldn't you do that?
Full of creosote. Pine has got the most. When you burn, the best wood to burn is going to be oak. Believe it or not, Australian pine has the lowest content.
Right.
But it's hard to find Australian pine in Florida.
The other thing is that if you burn paper, if you burn your Christmas tree, what it is the rapid expansion of heat that can do a lot of damage to the flue. It can crack the flue.
Yeah, keep in mind that things have a thermal expansion.
Imagine how expensive that is if you got to fix that.
Yeah.
Fireplace.
No, we actually, when we reline chimneys, and when we reline chimneys and we restore them with stainless steel liners that have lifetime warranties. And that is the standard of care in our industry.
Right. That's correct.
So if you want to get a hold of these guys, let me give our off-air number out before we do run out of time because we're having so much fun chatting about what you guys do. It's 813-377-2775. They will hook you up answer questions that you guys have. Call or text us at 813-377-2775, and they will leave this cute little chimney sweep guy with the ladder
That's
on
right.
the fireplace
Yep,
for good luck.
Absolutely. Yep.
And then he'll kiss my bride.
Well, they say the ash from a chimney sweep is lucky. We usually shake our customers' hands before we leave and tell them to go play the lottery.
Yep. Absolutely. Yep.
Has anybody ever won? Like, calls you back and said,
Not yet.
I wish.
Come on, people.
People share the result trying back in the history to justify the child labor.
Right.
Oh, it's lucky.
It's lucky.
Well, the luck actually, just real briefly, comes from a story of one of the kings of England that was on his way to his daughter's wedding. On his way across the street, there was a carriage that was out of control, and a chimney sweep happened to step out and grab him and saved his life, and the chimney sweep was invited to the wedding. That's going back to the wedding thing. But the king also said that this man was very lucky because he was able to save my life, So that was just a quick little,
Another little
history behind this. Really,
There is actually there's a lot of history, and
Yeah.
it's pretty interesting.
There's
actually.
one tale where the bride fell from a balcony and the chimney sweep caught her in England. And the husband walked in and caught her kissing the sweep, which you'll see a lot of pictures of a woman standing there with a handprint on her and the sweep. And this all goes back to that.
Yeah.
So what ended up happening was she said, well, I fell and he saved me, so he was invited to the wedding.
Right.
So there's a few iterations of that. It depends on what country. So it depends on the country, but it's pretty prevalent that we've been invited to weddings. We like a good time.
Oh, we do like a good time.
Well, you guys have been so much fun.
Well, thank you so much for having us.
We definitely would highly encourage the person listening who knows when the last time your chimney was really inspected, because it's just not something we do a lot of, because we don't burn them very often or even turn them on. I mean, I don't even know. I really don't even turn the heat on in my house. So,
And one last thing to go with that. If you live anywhere near the water, you know how corrosive salt air is.
Good point.
Salt air destroys.
how does that affect the flute and the other stuff?
Every part of it, especially if it's the metal firebox and chimneys and
Yeah, the
whatnot.
prefabs really do need to be inspected every couple of years minimum, because they are the ones that are the most danger, because they rot out. We had one lady burning it, and the flue literally caved in and dropped right in the middle of the firebox, dumped all the coals out onto the floor, caught the house on fire. And it was all because it had rusted out from water dripping in. What people don't realize is if you don't use the fireplace, they don't get dried out. And they've got an insulative wrap around them, and the insulation holds the water and causes
so
from
much
the rust from the
water,
outside in.
too, so it's such a good point.
Yeah.
Wow. It's been a fun hour.
It has been.
Hey, thank you again for having us. This was a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it as well.
I'm glad you have too. And again, I highly encourage you to check these guys out. They will repair, clean, sweep. Check out your dryer vents or your chimneys. Offer number 813-377-2775, and we'll get you guys connected. Any final thoughts? Because we're getting towards the top of the hour.
You've done most of the talking already. Now you're speechless. I don't know. I was trying to think of something clever to say, but anyway, please give
How
us
long have you guys been doing this, out of curiosity?
I've been doing it 45 years. Buck has been doing it about...
about 8
you've been
years.
good on the block.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I have had the master to learn from.
Comparatively speaking, right?
Exactly. So,
Well, you guys have been a blast.
Well, thank you.
Definitely love to have you back another day and get you connected with some of our people. And thanks so much for your time this morning.
thank you.
Thank you.
All
Absolutely.
right. You're listening to Tampa Home Talk. Offer number 813-377-2775. Again, 813-377-2775. Remember, live where you live. We're going to fix it. Welcome home. Have a great weekend, everybody.
Up and away.